Have you ever thought or said, I'm still young, I don't need a will yet? I hear that all the time. Let me tell you about Zara, her sister, and a pot of spaghetti that broke her more than the hospital phone call ever did. It's a story about how life can change in a moment, even when you're young, healthy, and full of plans. Hi, I'm Kemi Adefaracom. I'm a lawyer and notary, and I focus on wills, contracts, and trademarks. I'm also the founder of Legally Smart CEO, where we help women in business start, run, and protect their businesses, brands, and legacies with confidence. Zara's story is for my upcoming book, The Legacy Code. It wasn't the hospital call that broke Zara, not the silence that followed, not even the frantic drive to pick up Eden, her niece, from her Saturday dance class. It was a pot of spaghetti, cold, uncovered, still sitting on the stove. That's what shattered her. Her sister had made it that morning, Eden's lunch, maybe even dinner. They had spoken briefly on the phone while she cooked. She boiled the water, added seasoning, stirred the pot while packing Eden's dance bag and checking the grocery list. She was planning the day, making a meal, living a life, like she was coming back. The burner was off now, but the pot remained half full, the spoon resting beside it, a quiet echo of life interrupted. Sarah hadn't cried when the hospital called. She hadn't cried as she held Eden's small hand while nurses explained things neither of them could understand. She hadn't cried when she packed Eden's overnight bag and brought her home. But now, days later, she stood in her kitchen, staring at the pot of spaghetti, and she couldn't breathe. Because it meant something. It meant her sister had expected to return, to feed her daughter, to finish the day. The fridge was still full. Yogurt tubes, sliced apples, containers labeled with days of the week. Post-it notes lined the counter. Don't forget show and tell Friday. Library books due Tuesday. Pick up Eden's inhaler. Everything was in place except her. 4 days later, Eden lay asleep in Zara's home, curled beside her cousin like nothing had changed. But everything had. Zara still hadn't figured out how to tell her this wasn't a sleepover, that her mom, strong, healthy, 32, had collapsed in the middle of the cereal aisle and now lay in a medically induced coma, her future wrapped in quiet prayers and beeping machines. No one saw this coming. Zara whispered to David, her husband, her knees pulled to her chest, her heart heavy with questions she couldn't answer. And that's the point. Estate planning isn't reserved for the elderly, the sick, or those ready for the end. It's for anyone who wants to live and live with intention. You don't wait for your house to catch fire before buying insurance. You don't wait for a crash before getting coverage. Why? Because it's too late by then. So why wait to plan just because you're young? Why wait to protect your family until later? We don't wait, we don't pray for tragedy. We don't expect things to go wrong, but we know life can change in an instant, and that's why we prepare. Because life doesn't schedule around you. Sickness doesn't check your calendar. Accidents don't ask your age. Emergencies don't send a warning. And death doesn't wait until you feel ready. When Zara stood in that pot of spaghetti, she wasn't thinking about paperwork or documents. She was thinking about the life her sister thought she still had time to live. You and I don't know what tomorrow holds, but we do know this. God has given us wisdom for today, and that wisdom says, prepare now. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Psalm 90, verse 12. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Proverbs 22:3. So let me leave you with this question. What refuge do you need to build right now, spiritually, emotionally, or practically for your family? This story is for my upcoming book, The Legacy Code, where I help you discover practical and faith-filled ways to protect your family, your business, and your legacy. If you're in Ontario and you need help with your will or estate planning, my information is in the description. And if you found this video helpful, hit subscribe and share it with someone who needs the reminder. And remember, don't leave your legacy to chance. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.